always say that to all my clients, but it's definitely one of the best.
We love it.
Good. Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. We're going to aquascape this beautiful Oase Escape-A-Line 100. Spent the last hour or so fitting the Chihiros WRGB2 Pro Lite. We've got the Oase Biomaster 850 thermo filter, and we've upgraded the supplied hosing to some lovely ADA clear hosing and fitted glass lily pipe and inlet with the CO2 drop checker. Also got a pressurised CO2 kit from Strideways with a 1.5 kilogram refillable bottle. It's probably going to be upgraded to 3 kilograms in the future. It's a high-end system, not going to lie. My friend and client, Brad, has kindly invited me over to aquascape it. So we're going to have some good fun, classic nature aquarium style with a twist. It's going to be kind of South American themed. Brad's quite keen to keep angelfish. So we're going to have some quite nice vertical elements with the wood. We've got some beautiful Amazon swords. All the plants supplied by Tropica Aquarium plants. Got Tropica Aquarium soil. Got some amazing hardscape, manzanita wood. And I forget the name of the rocks, Brad. Can you remember?
No.
You got the invoice to hand? It's a new one, isn't it? Because I was quite keen to try it because it's new. All the supplies from Aquarium Gardens. We've got some cosmetic sand and gravel. And yeah, we're going to create a classic kind of V-shaped layout, but we're going to have a lovely pathway running through the centre and then a cosmetic sand foreground as well. Mostly easy plants, relatively slow growing, so it's going to be not too intense maintenance for Brad. Brad is not new to aquascaping, but this is his first kind of proper go, if you like. So we want to have something beautiful for him and his family to enjoy, but also not too high maintenance as well. So hopefully it's a perfect balance. So it's an absolutely stunning system, really enjoyed setting it up, and it's in a beautiful part of his room. His lovely wife has kindly sacrificed an area here in the corner, and I'm sure she won't regret it. Okay, so I did do a rough plan of the layout at Aquarium Gardens using their Scaping Dojo. We used the manzanita wood and the, what was it again, dark elderly stone, black elderly stone. So got the rough composition from there, which I've just looked at because I've kind of forgotten already. And now the next process in terms of setting up the scape is to put some soil in first. The reason for that is I need to put the rocks in to create the barrier. The rocks are going to act as a barrier between the soil and the cosmetic gravel. So put some soil in, that's going to act as a cushion between the rocks and the glass. So that gives me opportunity to rotate and move the rocks to get the best look, basically. So, and then eventually we'll put the cosmetic sands and gravels in, and that they'll go over any kind of loose soil. We'll probably remove as much as we can, but there'll be some loose bits that we can just top off with the cosmetic sand and gravel. So yeah, next thing will be add the soil, add the rocks. Just a little bit of a spiel on the Tropica Aquarium soil. It's a proven performer. I used this in hundreds of aquascapes by now. If you're a regular watcher to the channel, you'll have seen me use this before. It provides lots of nutrients, helpful nutrients to the plant roots. Also helps to soften and reduce the pH of the water slightly, which makes it more suitable for most fish and plants and shrimps. It's a great home for bacteria because it's very porous. Doesn't contain too much of an ammonia spike. So just a really great product. If you do want to kind of up your game with aquarium plants, and do consider using a specialist soil like this. It will last years. The nutrient content will last indefinitely, especially if you're using a liquid fertilizer and root capsules. So yeah, we'll put one bag in probably to act as the cushion, and then we'll start putting the rocks in. Exciting. So you can see what I've done here. We've created a natural barrier and pathway using the beautiful dark elderly stone, and there's a couple of mounds of soil towards the back. We'll add some more soil to that later, but what I need to do now is actually completely block off any areas where the soil can potentially migrate onto the sand once the sand's in there. So it's small gaps towards the bottoms of the stone. So we need to plug those. So we use a combination of gravel, which we've already got, and also some tissue paper. So what I've done now is basically poured some gravel in between the gaps in the stone. That's going to help prevent the soil from migrating forward. I'll just do a little bit more of that, and then we'll top off with the pale sand, and that will be the pathway complete. And then we can start adding the wood and the plants. Okay, so we have our substrate system in, and of course these beautiful rocks. We've got a layer of the, I think it's Hugo Kamishi quartz white gravel sand, just 1 to 2 millimeters grain size, slightly different textures and slightly different colours. And then we've got a final covering of the ADA aqua gravel, just to act as a natural transition from that kind of plain white to the beautiful dark elderly stone. I'm really happy with this actually. I don't often do this style of aquascaping with the pathway, but I'm really pleased with it. I absolutely love this rock. I'm definitely going to use it at some point in my escapes at home. So hopefully any kind of gaps in between the stones have now been filled with a combination of the aqua gravel and the sand. Normally we can use kind of cotton wool or some kind of cotton fibrous product, and we can wedge that in between the stones to act as a barrier, but I don't think we've needed to do that today. And because we're using relatively low maintenance, slower growing plants, Brad won't be needing to constantly uprooting things, so that the risk of any soil migration is quite minimal. Other things of note, I have sloped the soil towards the back. That's going to give us some more height, of course. In the background, we're going to put some beautiful Echinodora species, a mixture of cryptocorynes. But the next step is actually putting the wood in. So this is beautiful manzanita wood, again from Aquarium Gardens. It is completely dried out, so it will want to float. So we will have to anchor it somehow into the aquarium. So more than likely have to glue it somehow to the stones. So we'll do that now. And after that, it'll be time for planting, which is going to be very exciting. Okay, hardscape's complete. Really happy with it. We've glued the wood to the rocks to help prevent it from floating. We've actually cable tied the 3 pieces of wood together as well to help mitigate that risk. I'm really, really happy with the hardscape. Brad's happy with it. His son Edmund's happy with it. And now it's the most, in my mind, one of the most exciting parts is planting. We've got quite a few species, at least 12 species. I'll talk you through each one very briefly. Shout out to Edmund, who was legendary at preparing the plants, much better than his dad, I may add, and actually coached him a little bit. So starting off with background, we've got Echinodorus Blairi, which is the classic Amazon sword. We've got, I think, 6 pots or so. And then we have Hygrophila coriambosa siamensis 53B, there's about 4 pots there. This is actually potentially temporary. This is more of a fast growing weed, which is going to help avoid algae in those early stages of the aquascape's life. Then we have our tallest crypt. This is Cryptocoryne willisii. Actually a really, really kind of tall specimen. You don't normally get them this tall when you buy them in your shop. So very grateful for some mature specimens there. Give us some instant impact. And then moving on to our kind of mid-ground, foreground plants, we have Cryptocoryne Becketii petchii. This is a beautiful, slow-growing mid-ground crypt. Actually takes on a more kind of burgundy, red-brown colour, depending on the lighting and how the nutrient content of the water, etc. That's one of the great things about crypts. You never really know exactly how they'll turn out in the long term. It's a bit of a surprise sometimes. And then going down in size, we have Cryptocoryne albida brown. This is actually quite a juvenile specimen. This will get quite a bit taller and hopefully get a much more kind of browny red leaf, especially under the good lighting that we've got here with the Chihiros. The smallest crypt here is the Cryptocoryne parva. This is actually, again, quite a large specimen. We are in a family home, so you will get some background noises. It's no problem. Brad's got his head in his hands. Sorry, George. That's absolutely fine. My dogs interrupt my videos all the time, and I kind of leave it in there because it's all part of living in a family home. So that's Crypt parva, the smallest crypt we've got. And then we do have some 1-2 grow species. We've got Cryptocoryne undulatus red. This will probably grow to 15 centimetres or so, maybe taller, depending on, again, the conditions. And then we have our smallest Echinodorus. So this is a 1-2 grow, so it's very small at the moment. This will get to about 15 centimetres, 20 centimetres tall. This is Echinodorus tropica, which interestingly has been brought back into production. It was in production about 20 years ago, and yeah, they brought it back in the 1-2 grow, so that's really great. And then we have a load of Starigine repens, again 1-2 grow. This is a very compact growing stem plant which sends out side shoots regularly. Keep it well trimmed and you can create these beautiful kind of bushes, almost topiary like. Moving on to our Eriocalon Vietnam. This is a really great plant. I've talked a lot about this in previous videos. Tolerates low light, very low maintenance. It's a rosette plant, so it doesn't send out runners or anything. It will just gradually get slightly taller and slightly more bushy as it matures, but this will last months and months before it needs any maintenance at all. All of the plants here are relatively low maintenance, apart from that Hygrophila Coriumbosa siamensis 53B. That's easy for me to say. Okay, final tray. We have our epiphyte plants or attaching plants. We've got the Hydrocotyle tripartita. This again is probably going to be a helping plant, might not be used in the long term depending if Brad gets fed up with thinning it out and trimming it. But we'll attach this as an epiphyte. You can grow it as a stem plant or even a carpeting plant, so it's quite versatile. But we'll use this as an epiphyte and it will hopefully give us the kind of effect of like an ivy growing around the wood. I think it will look quite attractive. Fast grower. It's great for a beginning of an aquascape's life again. And then we've got a couple of species of Bucophilandra. This one's very exciting. This is Bucophilandra sordid orla blue. This is brand new from Tropica. This is quite a juvenile specimen. It will get quite a bit bigger than that in the long term. Slow growing like most Bucophilandras. And yeah, very, very beautiful. When it's mature under good light, the leaves take on this like metallic blue colour, hence the name sordid orla blue. I like to call it blue steel because it sounds more funky than sordid orla blue. And we have Bucophilandra wavy green, now called Bucophilandra bucket calem, has been reclassified. Then we have Anubias petite, one of the smaller Anubiases. It's actually the smallest apart from the Anubias mini coin, which we're not using today. Beautiful plant. This is one of my favourite plants of all time actually, and I've got this growing in my Highline 400. It's just a joy. It stays relatively algae free. It does prefer to grow in the shade, so you know, you bear that in mind when you're planting it. We'll probably plant it towards the bottom of where the wood and the rocks kind of meet. And then the final plant, and one of the all-time classics that I like to use in nature aquariums, is the good old Microsorm trident, aka trident fern. So this is a beautiful specimen, and this was actually originally grown on Aquadecor, and I've just peeled it off that wood and left the wood at Aquarium Gardens, so cheers. But it's really good to use this rather than the pots, because what happens is, it's an epiphyte, the rhizome creeps along the wood and then the new leaves grow from that rhizome. And if it's growing along the wood, it's much, much easier to grow and to actually add to your new scape. If you buy it in pot form, it's kind of all twisted and compact, and the rhizome's not so easy to plant. So that will be our final plant that will attach appropriately. And we've probably got, I mean, there's 2 plants there, but we can probably split this one into individual portions to get better coverage. But we'll just see how the other epiphytes kind of compose the layout and make any adjustments accordingly. So that is the plants in a nutshell. I will do a time lapse of planting, and then we're nearly there, ready to fill with water. Very exciting times. You excited, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for your help. They were legendary. You've seen the time lapse of them helping plant, and it was probably the most efficient plant prep I've ever seen. There's 50 pots here, so that's roughly £300 worth of plants. That's about $500 US. Sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but when you're investing in such a high-end system, you've got beautiful hardscape, really high quality lighting, filtration, CO2 kit, substrate system. You need to plant heavily. There's no point in spending literally thousands of pounds on something like this and then only buying 2 plants, because it might look good for a few weeks, but you're just going to get algae. The reason we plant really heavily is not just aesthetically, it's actually functionally. So the plants will outcompete the algae and they actually benefit the whole biology of the system. It means we can get fish and shrimp in there sooner. Brad's already got a mature filter that's kind of running right now, so that will get on there once we've filled and stuff. And yeah, I'm genuinely excited. It's probably one of the best hardscape layouts I've done for a client. I always say that to all my clients, but it's definitely one of the best.
We love it.
It's good. Right, let's get planting. Exciting. So there we have the scape now fully planted, fully filled with water, filters running. We set the CO2 to around 4 bubbles a second. Brad's going to keep it on the drop checker, make sure it's lime green. Photo period is going to be set to 6 hours, going to run about 25% to start with, and then maybe gradually ramp it up over the coming weeks as the plants adjust. It's important to have enough light to make the plants grow, of course, but not too much to encourage algae, especially in the early days. So Brad will now be performing regular frequent water changes for the first few weeks, and then gradually go down to 50% water change a week. It's been a really great day. I've really enjoyed scaping it. I've used some products that I've never used before, the beautiful black elderly stone, combination of plants that I don't often use, especially with the Amazon swords in the back, combined with a load of different crypts. Classic Anubias and Bucophilandras. And yeah, I think Brad's really happy with it. The family have hosted me brilliantly. I've had homemade pizzas, cookies, homemade soup, homemade bread. It's been a really great day, and made a new friend. In fact, a few new friends, including the dogs. So it's been a real joyful day. It's been a long day. It's now 9:45 in the evening. I got here at 9:30.
You did.
So it's been a long day, but full of great fun, and I think Brad's learnt a lot. And wish him well with Escape. I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and we'll provide updates as appropriate. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and let us know what fish you put in here. Brad's going to actually put some mature media in here, probably tomorrow, add a few platies just to keep the system kind of ticking over and mature. And then the whole kind of theme of the Aquascape is South American. So although there isn't that many South American species, but dominated by the Amazon swords in the background, I think it's going to look beautiful with some angelfish, cardinal tetras potentially, maybe some rummy nose, maybe some Corydoras for the foreground. But yeah, let us know what fish you put in here. Right, say cheerio, get the car packed up. It's going to be a bit lighter drive home. I actually managed to squeeze all of this in my car. So yeah, looking forward to a nice restful sleep tonight. Cheers, Brad.
Cheers, thank you, George. Awesome.
Pleasure, mate. And we'll catch up soon. Right, take care, everyone. See you on the next one. Cheerio.